What's going on? It's Devin here at Cover 3 Media. We're back with a brand new video. This video is going to be my top 8 players after round 8 who have the highest upside. These are deep sleepers after round 8. ADP a little bit north of 96 if you're playing in a 12-man league. So let's dive right into it. These 8 players I am targeting late in your draft that can return insane value based on their upside. So let's dive right into it. First up, with the highest ADP is David Njoku, going at 99 right now, tight end 10. He is a talented guy. We've been waiting a long time for him to develop. He's starting to continue to develop, put together a pretty healthy season where he finishes the tight end 10. He actually did have the same amount of points per game as Evan Ingram, but nobody seems to notice that at all. If Deshaun Watson can return to his old, if they can pass the ball at even a league average, I think that's going to be great news for David Njoku. I know they brought in some more receivers, but Njoku seemed to have a solid connection with Watson when Watson did take over. And I think Njoku, if he can put together a healthy season, Cleveland does pass the ball more, he can be a upside top 5, top 6 tight end for fantasy football based on his involvement in the passing game and touchdowns. He had 80 targets last year. I think that can increase if the Browns pass more. So I think Njoku is a great tight end to grab and around this spot at his ADP. Next up on my list is no one other than Rashad Bateman. He's going at 104 right now at ADP. Wide receiver 45. These ADPs are based off fantasydata.com, but Rashad Bateman, we've been saying this again. Last year we thought he was going to break out. He's shown some flashes to start the year, and then he battled injury and missed the rest of the season. Bateman is such a talented receiver, and he has not been able to stay healthy. It's kind of is a make it or break it season, but I still like his upside at the spot. You know, the Ravens that brought in a new OC that they want to pass the ball more. Zay Flowers and OBJ are new additions to this offense. They do have obviously Mark Andrews too, who should be the number one option regardless. But let's remember, Lamar has shown to have a pretty good connection with Bateman. He has a more established connection than he does with Bateman than OBJ and Zay Flowers. So that is a consideration people need to think about. And Bateman doesn't need a lot of volume to produce at a high level and go on these long, deep passes. He was an absolute beast at Minnesota, had a great breakout age, great college dominator rating, and put up some great stats. So I still believe in Bateman. If it's not going to happen this year, it probably won't. But receivers can break out in their third years. Doesn't have to be always in their second year. The dude needs to stay healthy, and I think he can be a solid receiver that can return a great investment. Right now, at his ADP, he's wide receiver 45. If he can put together, in the wide receiver 20-ish range, I think that's definitely in his capability. I think he's just going to have to outplay and outshine OBJ and Zay Flowers, which I think he can, based on his talent and already established connection with Lamar Jackson. So I still like Bateman, especially at this price point. I think it's a great spot to grab him. Next up, number 3 is the rookie on the Chargers, Quentin Johnston, going 107 right now at ADP, wide receiver 47. The Chargers are going to pass the ball a ton. Kellen Moore is coming in. They already passed at the second highest rate last year, so that could increase to being the number 1 in the league. I know Quentin Johnston is going to be the third option in the pass game, potentially even fourth, as they do have this guy named Austin Ekeler who's pretty damn good at receiving the ball. But let's not forget, Mike Williams is very injury prone, and Keenan Allen had an injury-prone season last year. He has some injuries earlier in his career. He's been healthy for the most part besides last season, but he is older as well. I think Quentin could take more apart from Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, since Keenan's more kind of that slot guy, where Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston are a little bit of similar players. If the Chargers are going to pass a lot, Quentin Johnston could establish himself as a big threat. I liked what I saw at TCU. He's a physical player. The Chargers obviously saw something too, taking him in the first round. And they have a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. And he could break out and be a guy that could produce some big spike weeks. I don't know how consistent he'll be. But in this range, again, it's sleepers. These are guys that you want to have the highest upside. And this video is about high upside. And let me tell you, QJ on the Chargers, he's got high upside. So now let's move into our 4th player. It's none other than Zach Charbonnet. He's going 114 right now, RB40. We got Kenneth Walker still in the backfield, who they took in the second round the year prior. Had a great rookie season. Took over, dominated when Rashad Penny went down. But now the Seahawks do the same thing and draft a running back in the second round again. This time, Zach Charbonnet. He was a very productive running back in college. Showed a lot of capabilities of catching the ball. So this is kind of appeals for PPR leagues, which I mainly play in, and what I'm talking about is what I'm going based off of. Charbonnet is a great pass catcher. He's not a a complete dominant athlete. I think Kenneth Walker has that in his realm, and I think Kenneth Walker is better than him as a player. But Kenneth Walker goes down, or if the Seahawks surprise us and have Charbonnet start over him, which we don't really know for sure, Pete Carroll is not very good with giving us information as fantasy managers, how they use players, so it is unpredictable. I think this is a good spot to take a flyer on Charbonnet, who could produce pretty early, and has that pass catching ability, which we love in PPR. So I do like Charbonnet at this price. I still like Ken Walker more, but the potential of Charbonnet being a starting running back and getting him at this price, and even if he just remains a third down back and sprinkles in some carries, he could return the value pretty well as RB40 right now. So I'm all over that price tag all day long. Moving into the next guy, number 5 is Elijah Mitchell, San Francisco 49ers. His ADP is 117 right now, RB42. Elijah Mitchell always seems to be the forgotten one. He has had some great games as the 49ers running back. Obviously, they got a new shiny toy in Christian McCaffrey, who dominated once he took over. But let's not forget, in the 6 games that Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey played together, McCaffrey had 67 carries. Elijah Mitchell had 62. So it was a pretty close 50-50 split. Obviously, McCaffrey's going to be involved way more in the passing game than Elijah Mitchell ever will be. And let's not forget though too, guys. McCaffrey has shown the ability to be injury prone, and I'm not hoping an injury on the guy, but Elijah Mitchell, if McCaffrey were to get hurt, would be an absolute damn skyrocket of a pick at this price point, and that's why I like him at Elijah Mitchell at this point. You want to have handcuffs. If I draft McCaffrey early in my draft, I might as well get Elijah Mitchell at this point. Obviously, McCaffrey's going to be the premier player, but if he does go down to injury, Elijah Mitchell is a great backup option to have. And Elijah Mitchell is very efficient with the ball. Obviously, when he gets the rushes, he does get with volume, and that's mainly because of this offense and volume that Shanahan has brought to the running backs. So I love Elijah Mitchell at this price point. It's really high upside, obviously predicting possibly an injury, but he did get a lot of carries compared to McCaffrey when they both played together in those short sample size we do have. Moving in to our 6th player on the list, I only want to do one quarterback because I still think it's tough to take upside quarterbacks later. It's a little bit flawed, I think, when people try to say sleeper quarterbacks this late. I think sleeper quarterbacks are more earlier than after round 8. But I have to include this guy in a high upside video, and that's none other than Anthony Richardson, the rookie quarterback for the Colts. ADP is 127 right now, quarterback 18. The one thing that does concern me is I don't know how great he of a passer he's going to be immediately, which would result in passing touchdowns, especially depending on your league format. If you're playing in 4-point passing touchdowns, he's going to have more value than he would in a 6-point passing touchdown league. So definitely keep that in mind. And also, in the last 23 years, only 6 of the 10 best fantasy seasons among quarterbacks actually resulted in top 10 finishes in their rookie campaigns. So that means even the top rookie quarterback performances weren't exactly great for fantasy football. And that's one thing that does worry me as well, as Anthony Richardson and these other rookie quarterbacks might not produce great fantasy stats. But as a quarterback 18, I think this is a great guy you could get as your backup if you take quarterback earlier. That could have some spike weeks, and who knows what he's going to be capable of with running the ball and producing rushing yards. So we got to keep that in mind, and that's why I still like Anthony Richardson as a complete flyer at this point. And this is high upside, guys. Anthony Richardson is a definition of high upside, and we all know that. Now down to our second last player of 8 high upside players that we want to draft after round 8. That is no other than at 7 is Dalton Kincaid, rookie tight end on the Bills. ADP is 136, tight end 13. Now I know what you're saying. A lot of rookie tight ends never produce right away. It's pretty hard to predict them to do anything, and it's tough because really the only guy in recent memory was Kyle Pitts. Now, obviously, Kyle Pitts and Dalton Kincaid's talents are completely different levels, but the Bills took a first-round pick with Dalton Kincaid. They passed the ball a ton, and Dalton Kincaid's not your ordinary tight end. He's not going to be blocking in line. He's going to be playing a slot role for them. Stephon Diggs is obviously the alpha type receiver and target for Josh Allen. They're still waiting for that second target to develop. Gabe Davis has shown signs but hasn't been consistent enough as a second option, and Dalton Kincaid could really emerge as that player. He's a talented guy, didn't play football till later in his high school career, is an absolute athletic freak, and I think the Bills see that in him as well, and they're going to use him a lot. So I like taking Dalton Kincaid, tight end 13 at this point. Obviously you're probably going to have a tight end you already grabbed before if you're taking Kincaid here, I hope. But Kincaid could prove the doubters wrong and produce points as a rookie in fantasy football. And I think he can do it if the Bills give him the target and snaps to be able to produce. Now, guys, moving into my last guy on this list, number 8, it is no one other than Sky Moore. ADP is 128 right now, wide receiver 54. No Juju Smith-Schuster, he's gone. Obviously, we know Travis Kelce is the number one guy in this offense, but the Chiefs are going to have to rely on another person in this offense in the receiving group. There's a lot of names. There's Sky Moore, there's Kadarius Toney, there's Rashid Rice, the rookie, MVS, but we have to bank that we need to trust Andy Reid. One of these guys is going to develop and have a pretty solid season. Kadarius Toney should be the guy, but he's struggled to stay healthy in his entire career. It's really hard to predict him to stay healthy when we haven't shown him be able to do it in a full season yet. Sky Moore wasn't exactly fully healthy either in his only rookie year last year, but I think Sky Moore has potential. They saw something in the take him in the second round. They moved up to get him. A lot of people were high on him last season and have kind of come down now. But at this price point, wide receiver 54, I think he could return the value very nicely if he can stay healthy and take over as the second or third option in this passing offense. With no Juju, Juju had 101 targets last year. He finished as 27 in PPR for fantasy football. If Sky Moore can do anything close to that, that'd be a huge return on investment at this point. It's high upside. He's playing in the best offense in football. He's playing with the best quarterback in football. That's all you need to know, and that's why I like Sky Moore as his last guy on this list. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Those are my top 8 high upside players to take after round 8 in your fantasy football drafts this summer. Subscribe and like here on YouTube. We have a TikTok and Instagram as well at Cover 3 Media where we post stuff on there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Any questions, any comments, any other players I'm missing that you think are great high upside players after round 8, leave in the comments. We'd love to see your feedback. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the flip side.